Untitled Podcast is a part of the Kansas Google Education Group Network and also the Mace Kansas Network. You can find more information about episodes and guests at www.untitledpc.net. Welcome to Untitled Podcast. My name is Travis True.
And I'm Carol Nelson. Welcome to this episode of the Untitled Podcast. Today we have Lori Hauer. Lori, welcome. Would you go ahead and just introduce yourself to us?
Hello, and my name is Lori Hauer, and I am the Technology Integration Coach at Ottawa High School. And I've been here for about 7 years.
Awesome. And you were also selected in, what was it? It's Secondary Teacher of the Year nominee?
The district did bestow that on me last spring. So that was quite an honor considering the educators that I get to work with. So definitely honored to have that. And we'll talk about more about why, given a lot of reasons why. So.
Awesome.
Go ahead. Sorry.
You're also passionate about educational technology to support student learning, communication, collaboration, and critical thinking. And just a little bit about your family. It's you and your husband and some children.
Yes, our children are all grown and out of the nest, so they are busy doing all kinds of things. My youngest is actually going to graduate from KU in a couple months, and pretty excited that they're actually going to have a graduation ceremony. So that will be fun. But yeah, they're all extremely busy people, and so we stay busy outside most of the time with some livestock, all the craziness that brings. We put up a lot of hay in the summertime, so I stay busy with that. And then we like to travel, so we try to get some brain breaks in over the summer. So that's really nice.
And you're also a Google for Education certified trainer.
I am. I have been that since December of 2015. So with that, I get to work and meet all of you and many other fabulous educators. And also because I have learned that I like to learn a lot of new things. So that keeps me on my toes most of the time. So that's a good fit for me, because just when you think you have everything down pat, it's probably going to change as soon as you say that.
All right. So at the beginning of the school year, back in the fall, you had posted on Facebook a picture of you and a group of teachers standing in front of a bus outside the school. Tell us about that bus.
Okay, so there's a little backstory to that photo. So we'll just step back. That was September when we took that photo. So we'll step back to almost this exact same time frame as right now, and the fabulous opportunity to attend TCEA, the Texas Computer and Education Conference in Austin, and there with 8,000 other educators, which sounds so foreign right now. Fabulous time. Travis, Dina, Jennifer, who's been on the program, Jesse, and some others from Topeka were all there. And so we have all that great time to absorb great information and collaborate with each other. So it's really spoiling, and I'm really looking forward to going again. At that conference, there was a large bus on site, and I died over it. And the people were so nice, and they explained how it was all set up. And they were from Van, Texas, which is just east of Dallas, and realized that their district was about the same size as us. And they made that happen. So I came back to school pretty excited about that bus and all that it had to offer. And so our CTE coordinator brought forward a grant to write. And I thought, oh, I'll write that grant. This will be perfect for the bus. Now, let me just tell you, that grant was for $500. I mean, that bus, we know, is going to be much more than $500. So I'm writing the grant, and I'm thinking, I can't, in good faith, complete this grant because I don't know for sure if we're going to get a bus. So I went to my principal the next day, and I said, I'd really like to apply for this minute little grant, but I'm going to need a bus. And her reaction was like, what in the world are you talking about? So I shared with her the pictures I had taken at TCEA. And then I immediately, the next day, our superintendent came over and I shared the pictures with him. The next week, I shared it with our building, all of our building admin, the elementary and alternative administration, to see if they would support the bus in our district. So what I proposed was for us to have a bus, because I got a little hint that we had a few buses that were going to be traded in over the summer. So this is about March when all this happened. And so I knew we were going to be getting some new buses, and one might actually be available. And so in that process, everyone was super excited about it. And so it moved forward. And the proposal that I shared was the opportunity to have our career and tech ed students create and build this bus. So the district would provide us the bus, which we now have, and that photo is the kickoff. That's the day we got the bus on site. And so since then, our several of our students have taken out all the seats. We have a website with the photos of this activity, and right now it is outside. Unfortunately, it's a little chilly, so we're not able to do as much, but today is promising. On this Wednesday, I'm going to pick up the stairs that will go out of the rear of the bus. And so all of our kids are doing that right now. In the meantime, I've got graphic art design kids working on the wrap of the bus. So they're going to create the exterior of that. We had a slogan contest with the advisory classes to create a slogan for the bus. And they decided on full steam ahead. And the graphic design, they're going to have like from rails to rockets. And we're going to have little robots in there. So and we've got that going, and we've got our business students working on the insurance. We've been in contact with the Department Highway Patrol to find out how we're going to move this bus. I mean, we have just had lots and lots of questions. We had a Zoom call with the great people in Bay in Texas, and they shared a lot of knowledge with us that way. So what that bus, hopefully this time next year, is going to be rolling around to our elementary schools. And what it can do is offer, equality in lessons for STEAM. And so we are focusing on with adding art to ours. We have several unfunded career pathways in our theater for our theater students and music students. So we want to make sure that they're a part of that too. So every time I mention the bus, it has more places to go. So we are talking about having a parent-teacher conference nights for parents to be able to come through and see it. And then each one of the schools has to host an activity. So that would be there as well. We're really hoping American Eagle is here in town, and they are building a butterfly garden on site. So they are looking for possibly this bus to provide some education opportunities on site. So it grows quickly, but we're going to be putting subflooring in next week. So
nice.
That's the bus.
I know
I don't have orange curly hair yet. But it might come. So.
I know you were excited at TCA when you came back, because that's all you could talk about was maybe trying to talk your husband into buying a bus and getting it set up. So
It
that's
is.
really exciting, and that's really unique. And your elementary kids are going to really enjoy that. I think your high school kids are going to get a lot out of working in that bus, not just putting it together, but also, working with those elementary kids, doing those activities that way.
It will. You know what? We were talking about this, and we also want to make sure that we're including a lot of our high school students who don't enter into the career and tech ed area, and maybe they're very high level science and math. And so we're trying to build lessons so that those students have an opportunity to teach. And we all know that value of teaching and solidifying your own learning. So there's a lot of different things that we're looking forward to. I mean, just building out the modules just to teach it is really going to be fun. So yeah, it's very comprehensive, and we're all learning together, to say the least. So
It's a great project.
thanks.
Very unique project. As a tech integration specialist, what unique ways are you, or do you support teachers in your district?
So as I mentioned earlier, this is my 7th year in this role. And I came here from a different district where I was 8 years in the classroom as a high school business teacher. And so a lot of what I did every day and taught, I just brought to what I did for educators here. But it's interesting that when I first was hired here was when Chromebooks were first coming out. And so a lot of those first few years were, how do I do things? And that's not the kind of conversations I have anymore. We have moved beyond the how do I do things into more of a learning coach, and more so like, how can I use this tool for engagement or to personalize learning? And obviously, what coming full circle to the first part of our conversation is that a year ago, when the world was altered to be all online, all of the information that we had talked about in the past, like Google Classroom and many other ed tech tools, fell naturally into place. And so I think that was a lot of the support and reason why I was chosen to represent the district for the Teacher of the Year, because we had spent so much time learning all those tools. So the question really is, when I first took the position, was like, okay, so they're going to learn this all, and then I guess I'll find another job, because I don't know what I'm going to do after they learn all these things. Well, that was definitely not what happened. So I tried. I think this year, the thing that I found, that you asked for unique ways, the thing that I tried to force myself to do was to give resources that people can access 24/7. I used to do lunch and learns. Those are kind of tricky because, well, we can't do them now. We just can't do them now. But they're tricky because sometimes lunch is a nice break for teachers. They need a brain break. Totally understand that. So by giving them resources 24/7, they can get to it when they want to. And it really, I think the thing that really stood out for me was that over the summer, I had one of our teachers reach out to me and say, I finally had time to go through all those things that you sent us. And she would send me this whole page of notes that she had made of things that she wanted to try. So I'd hate to take that opportunity and learning away just because they can attend, or they had other meetings to attend. So that's kind of where I try to make sure I can give resources that they can get to when they need to, or get back to them.
What is your favorite tech tool?
Oh gosh.
Okay, let me rephrase. 2-part question.
Okay.
What is your favorite tech tool to use, and what is your favorite tool or your most suggested tool that you're telling teachers that they should look into?
So that's interesting. Good question. So my go-to has been the same for a long time, and it would be a Google form. That thing is the powerhouse of ed tech, as far as I'm concerned. Free, my first favorite word. and then tied to a spreadsheet, that's like paradise for me. But just the opportunity to get immediate information from a Google form and to have a grade for you just makes your time so much more effective with your students. The thing that I share with staff and other teachers, probably same things, just Google Sheets, because not a lot of people are just familiar with it. And it does take some time to get used to it. But I'm also very, very passionate right now about Wakelet. And the last, I don't know, probably 2 years since I started using it quite a bit. I hate to admit this, but I'm going to. I probably have almost 2,000 things bookmarked. I was like, oh my gosh, how did that happen? But the genius of Wakelet is that I can actually find my bookmarks now. So that selling point in itself, besides all the other things that it does, is fabulous. And then the thing I share the most with students and staff really is Adobe Spark. Because again, the creativity that you can do with that, and that it can be accessed from any device or cell phone, makes it really appealing. And then our district, Mr. Grell, was fabulous enough to get us set up on the enterprise account. So we get all those premium features for free. So those are my go-tos at the moment. They're very user-friendly.
Did you see? Did you see the Google form update that was announced last week?
I did. I'm still waiting for one little piece. I'm pretty excited about the Jamboard revision history. That's my number one favorite thing about all of those things.
So for those listening, we geek out on Google. All three of us are Google trainers, and so we geek out. But Google last week introduced or released some information on updates. And one of the updates is in Google Forms is you'll be able to save your where you're at in the form. So you don't have to, right now you got to fill it all out. You can't come back and fill it out later. I don't know when exactly that's going to be released, but that's an update that's coming. That was exciting. That was one of the more exciting ones for me. And then Lori mentioned the Jamboard update. You can now do, or will be able to, I don't know when it'll be released, but soon, they'll have revision history, just like in a Google Doc or a Google slide. You'll be able to see who made what changes and when they were made and revert back to different versions of the board. And so that's pretty exciting too.
Yeah, there's been times over the last summer when we were talking about Jamboards and trying to work collaboratively that you would inadvertently delete something of your own or someone else's, and then there wasn't a way to get back to that.
Or a kid would put something on a board that shouldn't be put on there.
Right.
And you weren't.
I'm like, if you look on Twitter and search Jamboards, it is amazing, especially those elementary teachers, what they put in the backgrounds of theirs. So
yeah.
So that's exciting.
Yeah. I really like Jamboards, but yeah, Google Forms, I'm with you. That's when somebody asks about something, the first thing I do is, can I do it in a form? And if I can, I do it. And if I can't, I try to find a way to do it because it is so powerful. And you can tie it to so many different things because of the spreadsheet.
And the thing too about the spreadsheet that's really awesome is that there's so many add-ons that you can disseminate and break that information down, and you've got instant feedback that you can share with your parents or support staff or IEPs and every way possible. So it really becomes just extremely powerful. I actually am just getting ready to send out my Tech on the Twos because it's my mega 2 day today. And I actually made a Google form that could be used for students as a lesson reflection. And just trying to promote, we are our district. I just had conversation. This is secret, but it's not secret because it's important. That we're going to really start focusing on reading strategies. We finished the KSTE dyslexia training and the science of reading, and how, so many students have reading issues that are undiagnosed. So we're trying to, develop PD, and that's what we're going to start developing, different warehouse for our staff to access that. So, yeah, I think with technology now, sometimes there's so much that is overwhelming. And so I try to help people just focus on what they want to do. What is the end result? And then we'll backtrack and see what might work best.
Yeah. All right. One more Google form question. What's the one update or feature that you really want to see?
I think, and I've suggested this way too many times, that's why I can't believe it's not out there, because I tell everybody to, is that it would really be nice to put a time limit on a question. Ooh. Or a section or a test.
Mine. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine.
You can embed a video, but you can't embed audio. I want to be able to embed audio, or actually embed HTML. So embed something from a Wakelet instead of just a link.
Yeah, interesting. That's the thing, it's so powerful that it's really unlimited. I'm sure the feedback they get is just such a variety of things. So, but yeah, Google Forms. Remember back in the day when we had a thing called Microsoft Access? Someone was brilliant enough to say, take that away. We're just making you a form so you don't have to try to learn how to code everything. Oh my gosh, I don't know who that was, but they are so awesome.
Oh goodness.
I remember having to teach that, thinking this is crazy. Crazy. These kids are going to be lost forever. They'll never touch another computer. So
back in the day.
Yes, back in the day. And boy, does time fly. So
it sure does. Well, one last question. This is a question that we've asked everyone that we've had with us, just as we reflect on this time of COVID that we've all dealt with, and bringing some positive aspects out of that, and something that you will keep or continue to move forward with, like a positive takeaway from the time of COVID for you.
I mentioned it earlier. It's just the fact that giving resources for 24/7 access, because everyone's lives have been altered. No, it's hard to know if it's a permanent thing or just temporary. A year is a pretty long time. So if I can continue to provide that help for someone, and that gives someone an idea that spurs something that works for them or their students, then that's what I'll do. There's two other things that I hope I always keep in mind, and that I design lessons so that they can maximize the learning for their students, no matter where their students are, either in person or remote. But also in that thought that they develop tools that even if we're always in person going forward, that they always meet their students' needs as best they can, that they've learned some resources, and then I provided some resources that helps them differentiate that learning for their kids. And then also, just a personal note for myself is just to always, always, always practice as much patience as possible. I am often floored when I hear or have students struggle with their struggles. Some young people have so much on their plates that I can't even imagine how they function. So many adults have so much on their plates, and most of us don't know what each family member or unit might be going through. So just patience, a lot of patience with people right now. So that needs to continue as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, those are great.
Well, thank you, Lori, for coming on and being our guest today. I want to remind everybody that a lot of the resources that we mentioned We will add links to those on the show notes on the episode page for this episode. So you can check those out. We'll include all the information about forms and Google updates and everything else that was mentioned. But Lori, thank you very much.
Thank you both. It's great to see you. I miss seeing you in person. So my fingers are crossed for as soon as possible.
Yeah, we'll get there one of these days. Thank everybody for listening, and we'll see you next time.